Commissioner Didier Reynders participating, and I give you the floor.
Thank you very much, President. Members of the Parliament, I'd also like to thank you for having included this amount today. The epidemic knows no borders. Data and technology can help us in the fight against the coronavirus and also in the lifting of restrictions and the restoration of free movement of people. Tracing and contact apps can play a role in that task.
Recommendation on 8 April setting out principles ensuring the respect of fundamental rights, and in particular the right to privacy and personal data protection and the prevention of mass surveillance and stigmatization. It was followed by a common EU toolbox developed by the Member States with the support of the Commission and complemented by Commission guidance on the respect of privacy and data protection. Our guidance sets key principles. National health authorities or authorities responsible for the crisis management should be the controller. The installation of an app on a user's device should be voluntary. If proximity data is used, it should be stored on an individual's device and only shared at the initiative of the user. For contact tracing, there is no use of geolocalization data, only proximity data based on Bluetooth. Only the personal data that are necessary to meet the purpose of the app can be processed. The identity of the user of the app will not be disclosed to other users. The personal data should not be kept for longer than necessary. Timelines should be based on medical relevance. In addition, the apps should be only used during the crisis and be deactivated at the latest when the pandemic is over. The deactivation should not depend on deinstallation by the user. The data and the entire application should be protected through state-of-the-art security techniques, including encryption. And finally, data protection authorities should be fully involved and consulted in the development of an app and should keep its deployment under review. Honourable members, le but des applications.
The aim of the tracing and contact apps is to help break the chains of infection and save lives, but this will only work if citizens know that they are safe and that their data and private lives are protected. Citizens need to be sure that the applications will only be used to fight against the epidemic. And these are preconditions for the development, recognition and use of applications of this type. And I would like to stress this point. There should be no doubt about this. These applications cannot be used for mass surveillance. Individuals will retain and must retain the right to their data. This is the only way that the applications can work and to help us to fight the spread of the virus. So the applications need to be non-intrusive and they need to respect personal data as defined in EU law.
That we have a coordinated European approach. This European approach is clear. These apps must be voluntary, transparent, temporary, cyber-secure, using temporary and arbitrary identifiers, rely on proximity data, Bluetooth technology, and not on geolocalization. That means no tracking. And they must be interoperable across borders, but also across operating systems. As regards the two different approaches referred to as centralized and decentralized, both can be compatible with privacy and data protection rules, and both need to follow the highest standards of data security. From a data minimization perspective, the decentralized approach is preferable since less data would be stored on the backend server than under the centralized one. Regardless of the approach chosen, we should strive to have a common approach to ensure interoperability of the apps. The Commission is working with Member States on this issue as a top priority. And I'm glad that guidelines on interoperability for approved contact tracing mobile applications in the EU were adopted yesterday by the e-Health network of member states and published on the Commission website. I cannot emphasize enough how important interoperability will be for the cross-border circulation of people in the Union and for many sectors, including tourism. We should also make sure that national health authorities are able to adjust the epidemiologic parameters of the apps and to obtain the necessary aggregated information to monitor the efficiency of the measures taken. The Commission also firmly believes that the process regarding the selection of the apps, as well as their functioning, should be transparent. The technical specifications and the source code of the apps should therefore be published. Some member states are using manual tracing together or instead of tracing apps. These tracing modalities need to be in line with personal data protection rules as well. We will also be attentive to this. Mesdames et messieurs les députés.
Members of Parliament, as we all know, member states have started to introduce the first steps for the lifting of measures, and this is why we need to have a coordinated European approach. We need to act together in a responsible manner and with solidarity to stop the virus. President, I would like to thank you for this opportunity to set out the guidelines set out by the Commission in cooperation with the Member States, and obviously I'm looking forward to hearing your comments and any questions you may have.